Welcome to Chemistry 1A at San Joaquin Delta College, Spring 2019. I will be an instructor / professor for this semester. My name is Dr. Kim. This video is going to go over the syllabus and some other things that are necessary in the class. The pertinent information that you see in front of you is the front page of the syllabus. My preferred email address is the Gmail email address, which can be used almost primarily. You can see there are two phone numbers, never in my office, so if you need to get a hold of me, the best thing to do is to contact the division office and have them leave me a message. My office hours are noted here, and it's always a good idea to come by office hours if you can. The lecture is Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 12:30 in SCMA 356, and then we have our two different lab rooms or lab sections in the same lab room on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Another important point to point out here is this website. You'll be utilizing this website a lot. This is a whole bunch of information there that you're able to obtain and get. Looking at the syllabus some more, you can see we have our required materials. Please make sure you have all of these things: a scientific calculator, lab goggles, lab gloves, locks, scantrons, the 50 type question, 4 of them. We're going to be talking about the Connect account in a little bit. And then there's also a lab printout that you can obtain that has all the worksheets and the labs from the bookstore. I believe it's about $5. The chemistry textbook we are even using is by Chang, and we'll go over that in regards also to the McGraw-Hill Connect account. The course outline that you have up here is found in the course catalog. I'm not really going to go over it. You can go over it, read it if you like, but it is basically showing you what we're going to go over in a very brief description. Moving on to grading, which is always the favorite subject. We have our lecture material, which are going to be 4 hourly exams, each at 100 points, and then a comprehensive final at the end of the semester, which is 200 points. That gives us a total of about 600 lecture points, and we are scheduled for 15 quizzes. Now, each quiz is worth 10 points, and if we get more quizzes in, we'll be able to drop more quizzes. As of right now, we'll be dropping 5 quizzes, which would give us 100 points in quizzes, and each quiz is due Sunday night on the Connect system. You're going to be using the Connect system for reading and for your quizzes, and so that's going to be done online, and this will give us a total of 700 points, and you'll be assigned a separate lecture percentage grade. The textbook chapters that we'll be covering for each exam are noted here. And so you can see first exam is chapter 1, part of chapter 2, 7 and 8, and so on and so forth. That's your lecture material, which is about 80% of your grade overall is equal to your lecture material. Your laboratory material consists of really 3 major factors. The laboratory exercises that we're going to be completing, laboratory worksheets that you're completing, and the Connect reading that you're going to be completing. We have about 13 laboratories, give or take, that we're scheduled to do. Each lab itself is worth 10 points and is mostly graded on the accuracy of your results. A lot of times you're going to be given an unknown, and you're going to have to tell me the percentage composition, for example, of the unknown, and this is what your grade is mostly based on. For each lab, there's also a 10-point pre-lab quiz. This is going to be taking place at the start of the laboratory. So for assigned, we'll see this in a little bit. Here we'll go over it a little bit more. But let's say we're going to be doing the measurement lab. There will be some time ahead of the lab that you'll get to ask questions about the lab. I may give a small pre-lab lecture, and then at the end of that, you will take a 10-point pre-lab quiz. This is worth points, so it's just as much as your laboratory. And so that's going to give us a total for each lab about 20 points. We then have our 10 laboratory worksheets, give or take. I think it might actually be a little bit less. I can't remember, but it's pretty close to 10 laboratory worksheets, which are all worth 5 points. And we're going to talk a little bit more about those when they're due, as it says, to be completed and turned in the same day that they're received. Sometimes this is delayed. It all depends upon which worksheet it actually is and where we are in the material. And we'll see that in the calendar. So we're going to be going over the calendar for all these different things and looking at that in a little bit. The Connect reading is what you're reading for in the chapters of the textbook, and making sure that you're actually doing the reading and going through the textbook. These are all worth 2 points. There's about 15, give or take, and sometimes it ends up being 16 or 17, depending upon how we break it up. And this will give us a total of about 340 lab points. And at that point in time, you would be given a laboratory percentage also. To combine this to get your overall grade, as I said, 80% of your grade is based upon lecture, 20% is based upon lab. And we can see here the overall breakdown of where the A, B, C, D, and F are on that following scale. Here's the calendar. And so let's go over kind of how your chemistry work week will work. Part of the reason why you are getting this video is that I'm not going to be here the first day. So there's the first day of classes. I'm not going to be here, hence you're supposed to watch this video. You can see in the 15th, we have a measurement worksheet. So the day you guys actually, well, first day you'll see me, you're going to be working on the very first worksheet. It is due that day. So you have it that day. You already have access to it because you have it in your packet, but that is to be turned in that day. If we then look at the 17th, we can see we have a worksheet and a measurement lab to do. And so measurement lab does not take very long, and so therefore that day you are to complete your worksheet and complete the measurement lab. Now, one thing about labs that's a little bit different is you're going to be turning in labs 2 ways. One way is you get till the next lab period to turn in the lab. So therefore, if we're talking about this measurement lab, it'll be due the 22nd. So by the 22nd, when you come into class, you're going to turn in your data page for that lab. I just want the data page. You're also going to have turned it in before you get to class on the 22nd online. And I'll show you what that looks like right now. So when you go to turn this in online, you're going to go to that website I talked about before. So when you go to turn in your lab online, you're going to go to that website, chem1a.com, and it'll bring up my website, which is actually through Google Sites. Since this is Chem1a, click on Chem1a, current semester. This will bring up all the pertinent information regarding the current semester. You can see you actually have a way to go to the Connect system right here. As you scroll down, we're talking about information in Exam 1. You can see here are your worksheets, which you already have a printout because you bought it from the school. You can also get copies of your lab, which you already have because you bought it from the school. But here are your lab submissions. So the other way you're submitting your lab is on the day that is due, you're turning in that data page. But by the time you get there, you're going to have clicked on this Google form, completed all the information necessary that it asks you, and turning this in. So you're turning this in 2 ways. One way is that data page, and then the other way is through this online submission. Both must be completed in order to get a grade for that lab. Okay. As we go through here, you can see when worksheets are going to be assigned and when they're due. Again, if you're given that same day, unless otherwise noted, that worksheet is due that day. So we can see on the 24th here, these 2 worksheets, the atoms worksheet and hydrogen spectrum worksheet, are both due that day. So you're going to come into class, work on them, and get them all done and turned in. You can see on February, we have our first exam, which is February 5th. The other thing you can see, as I mentioned before, are your quizzes and your reading. Your reading is due Sunday or Saturday night, every Saturday night. So every Saturday night, you should be having completed a reading assignment. All of the reading assignments for exam 1 are already up. You can do them at any time. You can stop and start them at any time. And we're going to talk about what this smart book looks like and how to utilize it. The other part are the quizzes. The quizzes, as you can see over here, are all due on Sunday night. And so these are, once you start them, these are timed and you must complete them at in the allotted amount of time. When we talk about this Connect, and we talk about registering for the Connect and where your quizzes and your reading will be done, you'll see you have this registration page. It's in your syllabus packet that I had sent you on the email. You want to register, and so I expect you to have a lot. I'm trying to give you some free points here, so I want you to register, get registered for this. And so the way you do that is you can click on, this link that you're given. So if we go to that file, I can click on that link. Once you click on the link to register for the Connect system for our class, it'll bring up this new window where you can type in your email. Now, if you have already registered for Connect, this will, once you type in your email, it'll register you and it'll see that you have already set up an account. I'm going to pretend like I haven't set up an account, because both ways, I don't want you to necessarily pay for the Connect system as of yet. You do have to pay for it, but right now I want you to use the temporary free version. So I'm just going to kind of do a kind of fake registration right now. And we'll type that in. We'll say begin. And we can see here's my email address. I'm just going to retype that in, whatever I put there. Come up with some weird password. Whatever my name is, security question, something, whatever it is. You can put in your mobile number or not. You don't have to. But you want to complete this registration. Clicking continue. This is where it's going to bring up how you want to pay for it. I would not select any of these first. I would select this Access Now. This is going to give you a 2-week temporary access, allow you to kind of take a look at it, think about the class, so on and so forth, before you actually purchase it all. So I would click, and I suggest everyone do this, click on the temporary access now. When this does that, you then hit confirm, and it'll tell you you're registered for the class. At that point in time, you can say, okay, I'll go to my Connect system, and how does this look like? It'll automatically sign you in, and it'll actually show you all your different assignments. Now, I actually use this one here to show me all my assignments for the class that I'm in for chemistry. I'm not going to purchase it right now. And you can see I break it up by exam. So when we click on the folder for reading, you can see you have access to these assignments already. Now, this is the Smart Book. And what's nice about the Smart Book is it tries to build an idea of the type of things that you get and things that you don't get, what you think you did get but you don't get, and the things that you don't think you get but you do get. And so it builds kind of a profile about you. And this reading is actually guided reading. And what it does is it highlights the book in a certain way. And that's what this talks about here on this very beginning. I'm just going to kind of click through it really quick to kind of show you. And it talks about you're highlighting what you need to focus on, things of that, and about the practice button. But I'm going to kind of show you that where it talks about it. So you can see we have our different chapters right now that we're to kind of talk about that we have. And starting with chapter 1, since that's what we talked about, you're going to see most of the text is grayed out because it's saying, hey, this is important, but let's really see where we want to concentrate. And as you go through here, you can start to get different places where you can see a highlighted section where it's going to bring up, this is really important. Now, the grayed out material is not as important, but this black area where it's not necessarily completely grayed out will start to highlight as you get things and you don't get things. And so if we actually click on go to the next highlighted part, it's going to show us this is something you really need to pay attention to. And so it's telling us this, read this part, read this section near here. And as you do this, and you keep on going to each highlighted section and reading that section and reading that section, eventually this practice button is going to start blinking. You click on this practice button, and this is where it's starting to build your different information about you. And what's important about this practice button, this is going to help guide you in your studying and your reading. If you don't know how to this question at all or understand it, click on read about this. It'll take you back to the chapter. It'll highlight the stuff that this is talking about. Or you can even look at a slide, kind of like a PowerPoint slide, and it'll walk you through. Sometimes there's even videos about this. And so you want to kind of select this, whatever you think applies, and I'm just randomly selecting it. And then how do you think you know? Do you know this? Do you think, you're not too sure, or you have no idea, you're just randomly guessing? And I'm going to say, well, I think I know this. And so this helps build this kind of profile about you. And as this starts to build more and more about you, it will start to understand what you get, what you don't get, and it'll start highlighting the textbook differently. It'll start highlighting it in green if you get it, and then red if you really, really need to read this. This is an important thing that you're not getting. And so you really want to pay attention to those highlights. The other part that you have in your Connect system, if I can get out again, are your quizzes. So again, your reading assignments, these reading assignments, they are due every Saturday, and then the quizzes are actually due every Sunday. So going back here, you can see I have that in a separate folder, and these open up at certain times. So you actually can see you already have some quizzes regarding the Smart Book, regarding the course outline sheet, lab safety, and then there's this general prep, which we'll talk about more on Tuesday. But then you have this quiz that opens up January 8th, and you have it certain, actually it's already open, and that you have a certain due date that you have to get this turned in by. So you're going to want to pay attention to where these assignments are. So quizzes are due every Sunday night, and reading is due every Saturday night. Again, this is a lot of information. I know this video is a little fast. You may have to go back and watch it again, and hopefully you have some lists of questions and things of that nature. The final part that you are going to have to do is your lab safety contract, and if you're going to wear contact lenses during the laboratory, you're going to want this release form turned in. So both of these should be printed out, and both of these should be actually done and completed and given to me the day we check into lab, which should be Tuesday or Thursday of the first week. You can see here also there is a YouTube video I'd like you to watch on laboratory safety, and that's part of the safety contract that you are going to watch that, and you're going to pay attention to what's going on. If you do have any questions, I know it's a lot. I know it might be a little bit confusing, and I know there's probably going to be quite a bit of questions in terms of how to submit material, things of that nature. Please feel free to email me. Better yet, have those questions for the first day of lecture, and we'll hopefully be able to take care of a lot of those questions. And thank you for watching.